I remain Chief Dr. Benjamin Tamaranebi JP, the National President of Host Communities of Nigeria Producing Oil and Gas. We exactly expected this from Mr. President, who has the mind and the heart of humane, to see that there are some obnoxious clauses in the recent PIB that was assented by himself. After viewing him, he come to realize that those clauses that need to be reviewed and amended accordingly, which personally he have written to the Senate and the House of Reps in order to review those clauses that is obnoxious. And to be frank and sincere, that is what a father needs to do, which he has already displayed as a president. We really want, as members of host community and the mouthpiece of communities that produce oil and gas, we also agitate and appeal that the issues that concern the coexistence of host communities in the industry should also be looked at. Some of these key issues that quite obnoxious for the existence of communities that produce oil and gas. One, the midstream and the downstream that have been exempted in the act of the operating costs. We will also want Mr. President and the National Assembly to look into those areas, and percentage should be also be taxed from the midstream and downstream. And the midstream is more volatile, which is the transporting line of gas and oil. If there's an explosion, a vast area will be affected. Communities will be affected. Lives, living fishes are all affected in the cost of transit of these petroleum products. So percentage we're asking the same 3%. If 3% is the tag for the upstream, we will say 3% should be tagged for the midstream. Then where we are talking about the downstream, where the refineries, then the gas plants are, we also ask for another 3%. They should review in order to benefit those communities. These are some of the issues we felt that the government should look into, and the National Assembly should look into at this time, that another opening of door is available. My opinion on the committee setup in PIB, like the board members that have been put in place, we as communities rep will continue to agitate that there is no representation of community, because we felt that, as it is clearly stated in other union, labor unions or whatever, like the one we said, Nigerian Labour Congress, TUC, NUPENG, Pengasins, not every clusters come to make a point, but their representative does. As communities in oil and gas producing area are scattered all over Nigeria. Now we have some in Kogi State. We have another one coming in Bauchi, Niger, Nasarawa, and Lagos. They are forthcoming. So we feel that not every community would now be team themselves for discussion, but only the umbrella body can do so, which we are the mouthpiece of the host communities. So we've now appealing passionately that host communities should be recognized, should be cited in that act, so that the host communities should not be the mouthpiece to represent and speak for the people. For now, with the boards that have been set on board, there is no host community representation where we call for host community representation. I wait forward that now Mr. President are doing everything humanly possible to ensure that they impact the lives of the common host community. We want the industry to boom. Yes, Mr. President, we want the fourth leg. This bill started since from the former President Olusegun Obasanjo down to Yar'Adua Goodluck. And today, Baba has come and wore the fourth leg and finalized it, made sure there should be law in this country, backed by the Minister of Petroleum and the Ninth Assembly. They have done marvelously. That's why we have our own. Yes, as a pressure group, what is entitled for us to do, to pressurize for the benefit, maximum benefit, sustainable development in our communities, which Mr. President has confirmed, and giving us 3% from the upstream. And we are saying 3% to also be given from the what? The mainstream, and also the downstream, which is a balance and a win-win situation, where the communities will be winning, where the government will be, and our company will be winning. That's going to be mutual cooperation between the group, and that is what we're asking for. Another thing that we also observe is the gas flare. Gas flare funds ought not to go to mainstream. What is the purpose of the Development Trust Fund that was set in the Act? Is it not fund made for the development of communities? Why the money of gas flare has been channeled to the mainstream? We are calling that the same fund should be channeled back to what? The trust fund for the community development, not for the mainstream. These are some of the areas we are looking at this opening that Mr. President have created for the host community. We don't say they created for himself, but they created for the host community to make our input, and those obnoxious acts or areas should be amended for sustainable development. To the National Assembly, I give them kudos for taking up the pain over 20 years to come up with this bill. And finally, it has been passed to law. And we say thank you for the work they have done so far. And let them, at this time, where that sense of human, to impact those clauses that are not, like for example, as I can say, the issue of the vandalization, indemnity, if there is a breakage in the pipe and the community forfeits. Those areas, those are the obnoxious areas we are talking about, because we are not entitled for the security. So at this opening, we say, National Assembly, you have done well, but make sure you have to amend all these areas that have been, which is abnormal for the host communities, so that there should be peace and sustainable development in the area. My advice to all the youth in the region, all the youth in Nigeria, that where oil and gas is being found, we will say, exercise patience for governments and these host communities doing everything possible to see that communities will benefit. It's not like the one in the 13% derivation. This one is unlike the one in what you call is NDDC. But this is not unlike the one in what? Amnesty. But this is going direct to communities. We are calling on all youths, the traditional rulers in the area, who are working out the modalities for community inclusiveness, for community benefits. So we are praying that communities should have to have the trust in the government and trust in the host communities that we are leading. My final one, I still want to thank Mr. President for wearing the fourth leg and bringing an end to non-legislation on the petroleum industry. But now we have a law that will now guarantee the existence of community. We have it. Today, we have the petroleum industry that concern host community. It's our own bill. That's why we consider it's our own bill. This bill that was there, we consider, that's why we put up everything within. Without the support of government, without the support of any oil company, we are consistently doing it with our own coffers. Up to this moment, no one has come up to help us. We are doing it within ourselves for communities' sustainable development. So, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Minister of State. Thank you, the National Assembly, for making it happen. That is what we are talking about midstream. I mean, the downstream. The black soot is coming from the downstream. Those are the soot that are coming from what? The Port Harcourt refinery. The black soot is coming from there. And the gas flares, which is also another aspect. The black soot is coming from there. So we are saying, without tasking the midstream and downstream, it is an aberration. That's why we're calling the National Assembly, to make sure that they should pay the same 3% from midstream and downstream to benefit the people for the adverse effects they are suffering.